Next, let me introduce Professor Dr. Shiv Vishwanathan. Welcome, sir. Shiv Vishwanathan is currently the professor at Jindal Global Law School, Sonipat, and the director, Center for the Study of Knowledge Systems. He's trained social anthropologist with a PhD from the University of Delhi. He is highly regarded as an intellectual and social scientist, best known for his contributions to science and technology studies, and for the concept of cognitive justice, a term that he coined. Apart from a long list of credentials, he is a prolific writer and delightfully bold on most of the contemporary issues. We welcome you, sir, to give us a talk.
Morning. I was getting a bit nervous because in a way the crowd looks too respectable. We seem to be too well behaved for a Gandhi seminar. Gandhi had a tremendous sense of humor. You know, I remember the time Jamanlal Bajaj gave him a Ford car for his ashram. It ran for 2 weeks, collapsed. And then it was pulled all around the ashram by 2 oxen. So when the visitors came, Gandhi would laugh and say, "Meet my Oxford." This guy had a tremendous sense of laughter. He was subversive in a different way. And I think what we have to do is to be equally subversive. The goal of the Madras School of Social Work is to get arrested, not to produce PhDs. And I mean by this serious, because I think we are facing a situation when an idiot Prime Minister thinks he's a Gandhian and takes over the ashram. I think it's time we challenge this. Being silent about these things won't do. In fact, I remember O.V. Vijayan once made a tremendous crack. He began with an old story of Gandhi. Gandhi was once asked by an American journalist, "What do you think of Western civilization?" He said it would be a good idea. Years later, Gandhi is still stumbling around, and Vijayan goes to him and asks, "What do you think of Indian civilization?" And Gandhi says, that would also be a good idea. And I think that's really what we are confronting. The idea of India as a civilization. And I don't think we're really addressing the problem. I mean, let me give a series of suggestions of experiments we are trying now. How many of you have thought of taking over the Constitution? I mean, taking over the Constitution in an intellectual and political sense. Our Constitution has no theory of nature. For it, nature is a commodity. How do we bring nature back into the Constitution? G.D. Agarwal tried it by trying to make the Ganges a person. The Modi government reduced it to a PWD department, and Agarwal died heartbroken. How do you bring nature into the Constitution? How do you give rights to this tree? And I think we've got to begin this way. I mean, just take a simple thing. Today, corporations are taking over the coastline. Modi's main financier, Adani, is literally taking over the coastline. They're creating a generation of boat people. Don't you think that the Gandhian movement starts with the battle of the coastline? You know, I was in Northeast some time back, and I was talking to an old Naga woman. And she said, "You see the shawl? This Naga shawl is me. And you guys are ruining it in your market." He said, "When the Naga shawl goes, I go." Don't you think it's time Gandhians secede from the IPR system? They're too well behaved. Dying of a kind of respectability we don't need. And I think that is the problem that we'll have to confront. Let's take something very simple. The nuclear movement. How many Gandhians are involved in it? But I think it's time Gandhians as a group take over the Pugwash movement as it's dying. Pugwash was once a domain of scientists with a conscience. Unfortunately, India doesn't have too many of them. I think it's time we take over the Pugwash movement. create a different kind of formulation about energy. I think we need to challenge the regime. Let me give just a few suggestions. The battle of the Anthropocene has begun, with the West ignoring it. I think anyone who believes in Gandhian Swaraj to take over the Anthropocene as a movement. How do we shape the earth in a different way? How do you get responsible for every bit of soil? I remember Hans Jenny, the great soil expert, once giving a lecture at Berkeley. He put up a series of slides, beautiful, brilliant. Then he asked the smart guys in the first row, what do you think the slides are? And in typical fashionable science, they said, oh, Monet, the Impressionists. He said, nah, these are just pictures of soil under a microscope. How do you create rights for soil today? How does a constitution recognize the right of soils? I think Dharampal put it brilliantly in his book. He said when the British destroyed agriculture, they destroyed an epistemology, a way of thinking. And Gandhi has to be seen in those terms. You can't just reduce him to an applied science problem. Gandhi was a thinker, a philosopher, and we have to reinvent Gandhianism. Today, the most creative thing in India is violence. When you have people who rape a woman and then get photographed with a selfie, there's something wrong. How do we as Gandhians challenge it? I think we're not asking the unpleasant questions. I mean, let's just take something simple. We are trustees to rice in India. We have 150,000 varieties of rice in India. Is there one word on trusteeship in the Constitution? A trusteeship for rice, which is 100,000 ways of dreaming and cooking and myth. How do we bring this into the Constitution? Our current Constitution is illiterate, run by judges who think nuclear energy is sustainable, and the Narmada Dam is equally so. I think it's time we stop behaving ourselves. It's time we challenge the intellectual and political establishment in a different way. Without that, Gandhian critique is very easy to absorb. You revive him occasionally, take him out of mothballs, and treat him as something out of a taxidermist show. I think it's time to be subversive. I think it's time to secede from India. As I told the last audience, which was full of RSS people, the only way to be nationalist is to be occasionally anti-national. I think we have to challenge this. We have to look at the body. I mean, here is a regime which ignored the informal economy. You even spray the informal economy as if they're a bunch of alien refugees. And you take shots of it to show it as a spectacle. I mean, this is a regime which has no sense of nature or the informal economy. That means most of India is outside the Constitution. And yet you claim it's a great document? This kind of illiterate respectability has to end. And I think it's only Gandhians who can end it. Because you need a moral imagination. You need a political imagination. You need an ethical imagination. You need an epistemic imagination. And Gandhi had all four. He could begin with the body. He could create critical experiments of the body. And I think what we need desperately now is a new ethics. An ethics which challenges the kind of violence we are facing today. We are silent about our genocides. We are silent about what's happening in Assam. And Gandhianism had no such theory of silence except during fasting. Till we challenge the regime, Till we challenge the regime as a way of life committed to a certain kind of illiterate modernity, it's no use talking Gandhi. You could join the nearest Rotary Club and say what you like. It's time to subvert the political frame. It's got nothing to do with right or left. The Gandhians go far beyond that. And remember, Gandhi was not a Luddite. I mean, people forget the loudspeaker was introduced for the first time in a Gandhian rally. This guy was a Baniya to the core. I remember when he went to Manchester and it was closed down because of the Indian boycott. Gandhi looked around and said, no wonder the Japanese are beating you. He had a tremendous sense of humor, skepticism. And I think it's time we employ it. We're silent about riots. We're silent about disappearances in Kashmir. We're silent about the AFSPA in the Northeast. Recently, students of mine, one of whom is in the audience, did the research work for Colin Gonsalves. 1,500 cases of rape and murder. And we call it legitimate? I remember one of my students who went there, after a week phoned up and said, I hate you. I said, you hate all men. He said, yeah. How could you rape and murder this way and stay silent and legitimate? How do we challenge violence? The violence of rape, the violence of incest, the violence of genocide, the violence of displacement. I think these new ashrams need to challenge the think tanks of our time. I think that's the role of you people. Subvert, challenge, invent. A new kind of morality and a new kind of thought. Anyway, India is dying of mediocrity. I think that's the challenge before us. Otherwise, we'll all say, happy birthday, Gandhi, thank you, and go home, content. Contentment is not available to you. Not after COVID, not after a majoritarian regime like the one we have. I think it's time to challenge it. It's time to reinvent and live Gandhi. I think every one of you should rewrite Hind Swaraj, the way C.V. Seshadri and Dharampal suggested. You rewrite it to relive it. You relive it to challenge the current idiocy of the regime, not just as politics, but as a theory of modernity. Then we have entered the fray. Otherwise, we're just polite, well-behaved school children who'll have a happy lunch and go home contentedly. I hope that doesn't happen. Thank you.